How's it going, guys? Denmark is finally coming to Warno. This is the Denmark division for Landjut. And yeah, let's get to it. Hello, Rejoice Commanders. We return with another preview for our upcoming Warno Landjut expansion. In today's devblog, we'll take a look at a brand new NATO nation, Denmark, and its one and only Cold War standing formation, the Jutland Division. Thank you. Let's go. The Danish Armed Forces. Denmark was one of NATO's founding members in 1949, occupying a strategically important position, the entrance between the Baltic Sea and the North Sea. The Royal Danish Army, our folks in Warno, was part of the Forsvaret, Danish defence, the unifying armed forces of the Kingdom of Denmark, charged with the defence of Denmark and its overseas territories of Greenland and the Faroe Islands. So yeah, here's the Faroe Islands. I'm gonna level with you guys. I thought this was owned by Norway. So that's quite surprising. I think Norway owns this one, the Shetland Islands. I think. I think. Don't quote me on that. Anyway, they've got Greenland. Greenland isn't actually that big in real life. It's because of the way the projection works. Because you know because the world's a sphere, right? Unless you unless you're a 10v10 player, in which case you think it's flat. and uh, and so the things near the top of the map get stretched out. So Greenland isn't actually that big. It's still pretty large, but it's not that big. Anyway, here's Denmark. I sure hope nobody tries to take this. Anyway, based in Karup, the Royal Danish Army Command was divided into two parts during peacetime, Western and Eastern Command. In conflict, the Western Command would be transferred in its entirety to NATO's Landjut, covering Jutland, while the Eastern Command would become part of Landzealand, covering Copenhagen. Okay, so Jutland is the not island part then, I guess. While the Royal Danish Army was small, the Home Guard would have played an important role in getting more able-bodied men under arms in times of war. They were tasked with securing key military facilities and reinforcing regular army units. Denmark in NATO. As Warno Landjut is taking the fight to Denmark, so too we are exploring new military theatres. Though part of the actual continent of Europe, it's not a continent. The Danish armed forces were nonetheless attached to AF North, or Allied Forces Northern Europe, instead of AFCENT, Allied Forces Central Europe, of which Northag, Centag, and Southag were part. I thought they were Baltap. Never mind, it's about to tell me about that. However, as we can all see on the map, the country was separated from Norway, forming the bulk of AF North, by the Danish Straits, including the Kattegat and Skagerrak, maybe. This meant that Denmark was de facto its own subcommand called Baltap. There you go. Allied Forces Baltic Approaches, whose main land component was Landjut, Allied Land Forces Schleswig-Holstein and Jutland. But it's Landjut. I don't know, somebody from Schleswig-Holstein must have complained. And they're like, come on, bro, we want to be in... we want to be part of this, because it's like how Wales isn't on the British flag. Landjut was regrouped. Landjut regrouped most of Denmark's small regular army, chiefly made up of the Jyske division and the Jutland Battle Group, which was an independent reinforced regiment/brigade, as well as several smaller independent units. Just like Northag's 1st Netherland Corps, these formations were considered too slow to mobilise or too weak to resist a full-on communist land invasion through West Germany's Schleswig-Holstein on their own. Don't worry, they should just be neutral. I'm sure nothing bad will happen. Therefore, the northernmost Bundeswehr division, defending the approaches to Denmark, the 6th Panzer Grenadier Division, was attached to Landjut instead of Northag. So yeah, this is basically... there was a nemesis vote for this, and it failed, and then they're like, yeah, we're adding it in Landjut. I didn't actually cover this one as part of Nemesis, as part of Landjut, because I covered it as part of Nemesis. I mean, if you really want me to go back and cover the three, because they released three at once, for Landjut's supposed to be 8, and they had one devblog where they're like, here's 3, and all 3 of them were just failed Nemesis votes, that they're like, you're getting them anyway, you voted wrong, so... So, yeah, I'll cover it if you want. I'll do a poll in the description. It'll just say, should I cover those 3 divisions again? And it would just be sort of going through the Devblog and just recapping a lot of what I said before, so, you know, you can vote how you want. I don't mind doing it if enough of you want me to do it. Not only, as we explained previously, the West German formation was reinforced to make it the biggest NATO land division in the late 1980s. The West Germans were tasked to delay the Warsaw Pact land offensive against Denmark long enough for the Danes to mobilise their numerous Home Guard units. An amphibious assault was also anticipated against the Danish Isles in the Straits, which we will cover on a later date. The Danish Jyske division. This, how do you say that, man?
Jyske. Jyske.
Jyske. Today's focus will be on Denmark's only standing division, the Jyske Division, or Jutland Division, made up of 3 mechanised infantry brigades and 1 artillery brigade, plus several battalions. This formation fields as many tanks as a full-blown West German Panzergrenadier division, but with notably older generation equipment. What the heck's going on there, man? Excuse me? Guy's arms bifurcated. How is he doing that? Even if he's got 2 hands, how is he doing that? Because this is his right hand, it's holding the flag, and then while he's facing forwards, his left hand has a sword like that. There's no way. There's no way. Anyway, the Jyske Division was formed in 1951 and headquartered in Frederica. With little in the way of peacetime strength, reservists, not Home Guard, that's a different service arm altogether, would have been used to fill out the ranks quickly. As mentioned, the Jyske Division was to move at haste to the south to help defend the approaches to Denmark with their West German allies. The Jyske Division, I can't do this anymore, I've got to say it properly.
Jyske.
Otherwise I'll never say it properly. The Jyske Division in Warno. How will the Jyske Division look like in Warno Landjut?
Jyske.
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 Jyske. New units are both italic and bolded. All of the following is still a work in progress, including the localization of unit names. Note that the Laro mentioned below is the Danish designation for their variants of the venerable Land Rover Jeeps. All new Danish units will have new infantry models and dialogue. So, first we got the Logi tab. But before the Logi tab, we have the shilling, of course. Do not forget the shilling. It's time for me to thank the generous channel joiners, generously joiner in the channel. Get their names on the screen, they get the videos early, they get members exclusive videos. One join at the lowest level is worth 2,000 views in ad revenue equivalents. And over 3/4 of channel revenue comes from the channel joiners, which is why I shill so much. They also get a Steam key for my game, which is on Steam. You can wishlist that, it's free. To wishlist, the game itself will not be free, unless you're a channel joiner. Anyway, logistics and average category. Command units include the Laro Commando and the M113A1 KSN armoured vehicle. So the Laro Commando is a Rover Jeep, right? And there's been... So Rovers go at 90, but the new Rovers don't. I mean, this one still does, but the Santana... So this goes at 9 because it's a Land Rover, but then this one goes at 65, even though it's the same vehicle, and this one goes at 60, even though it's the same vehicle. So you would, and this one goes at 60, even though it's the same badge, man. I mean, so we'll see how fast it goes, right? There's basically some. Well, there's a limit to what I can say. Basically, Fun Police keeps trying to make things less fun. Anyway, the M113A1 KSN command vehicle is just going to be presumably, like, do we even have one of those? Like, we don't have one of those as a command vehicle, but presumably it'll be similar to the, you know, like the SPW or like the MTLB, it'll be like that, so it'll be like 40 points and, you know, it'll probably be 5 kilometers an hour faster, but you'd expect it to be about 40 points. Will it have smoke? I guess we'll find out. If it's got smoke, it'll probably be 45. Deployable supply units are the Bedford MJ2P and the MD Jupiter, as well as a FOB. So so they're saying it's new, and I guess it is sort of new, but it's sort of not new because that this is just a Land Rover CV. This is new, I suppose. And yeah, the Bedford's in the game, right? British Bedford, but there's two of them. Although this is probably the medium one, right? Because the big one is 3,000. So we're assuming it's going to be that, and it says MJ. So I'm not sure what 2P means, right? It means it drank too much water. Now it needs to go to the bathroom. And then there's the Jupiter. Honestly, I'm just such a font of humor. Anyway, I could have sworn that was already in the game, but I guess not. MD Jupiter. Oh, so it's in Wargame Red Dragon. Okay, looks like we're gonna have to start opening Wargame Red Dragon. Looks like there's some doctors called Jupiter as well. Very exciting. Did you see that Hearse Hero there? Hearse Hero? Hearse Hero on Steam? Because, yeah, I mean, Denmark is in Wargame Red Dragon, so we should check that out, right? Man, do I want to... Yeah, I do. I want to check that out. So, deck, armory, Jupiter. So there it is, it's a truck. You've learned so much. You've learned so much. Why is my FPS like 3? What the heck's going on? It says it's 120 up there. I can assure you it is not. Ugh. Hopefully that... Okay, it's fixed. So yeah, there's the Jupiter, right? And it's definitely a truck. You've learned so much. Infantry. Let's move on. Good category. The most common infantry are the capable Panzerinfanterie. Man, these guys, they all just copy each other. They're like, my language is so different, right? This is already in the game, right? This is just what the Dutch one. Bro, my language is so different. We're a unique culture. Mechanized infantry squad. The following flavors are available. They come in either 8-man strong with 7 G3s, but they gave them a different name to feel different. 1 MG3, but they gave it a different name to feel different, and a Carl Gustav. This squad can either deploy in a Bedford M2JP, so just the British Bedford, or an M113A1, which is American, right? So, I mean, do we have... Presumably Denmark in this game has some inf, right? I mean, we're here to see this sort of thing. That something doesn't seem right here. There we go. I mean, I remember Dragoners and Livgarden. Who can forget Livgarden? Anyway, so they're going to be basically Livgarden, right? Except in Wargame Red Dragon, because of Carl Gustav, GV thingy mabob, and you know, an MG3. But yeah, in Warno, an MG3 is kind of crap. Whereas in Red Dragon, it's really good. Yeah, so 8 guys, 7 G3s, 1 MG3, and a Carl Gustav. So these guys are 7. I mean, it will be exactly like that, but with 1 more guy. In terms of the stats, it'll be like that, because the MAG is a stat clone of the MG. If you didn't know already, all 7.62 NATO or Pact rifles do the same damage, and all 5.56 NATO or 5.54, you know, the Pact one, they all do the same damage on the rifles. And for the machine guns, there's basically 4 different types. There's 7.62 and 5.56, so like think of a grid, right? 7.62 and 5.56, and then down the side you have light support weapon and medium machine gun. So all medium machine gun 7.62s are the same, right? So it'll be like this, but with 1 more guy, so it'll be 45 points most likely, right? Most likely. So yeah, 8 dudes is an interesting squad size. It's quite uncommon, actually, I think. It's becoming more common the more I'm thinking about it. And the Panzer... What is that? Yeah, not laughing now, are you, Hippie? Now it is its own armoured infantry drivers.
PANSERINFANTERIFØRER.
I'm not dealing with this. Panzerinfanterifora. But what's that O thing? Pete's sake. Go with line through it. There we go. Armored Infantry Commander.
Panserinfanterifører.
So it's Panzerinfanterie Führer.
Panserinfanterifører.
8-man squad. But does that not mean commander? Oh, I see. It comes with a red-eye manpad, so it probably is the commander. 8-man strong command squads. Well, that confirms it. Clearly, I'm the dumb one here. With 3 Hovia SMGs, 4 G3s, 1 MG3, and a red-eye, which is the Fliegerfaust. Which actually, they're not as bad as blowpipes. Hovia MG3. Oh, so whatever. Okay, so it's like an MP40, I guess. Basically, SMGs in this game kind of all suck, except, well, to be honest, they're not actually that bad. It's just the MP5 is like twice as good as everybody else's. So you can see the accuracy difference on the L2A3 Sterling, which is of course the best SMG ever made. And the MP5, although Britain uses that as well, but I mean it's German made, so it's not as good as the Sterling. And you can see that the MP5 has twice the accuracy, so it's really a lot better. It also aims faster, and reloads faster, and fires more bullets. And you might be like, oh, it's because there's 4 of them. No, all the 4 does is quadruple the HE and quadruple the suppression. The other stats are just built into the gun. So for whatever reason, the MP5 is goated, and all the other ones are kind of bad. There are tiers of the other ones. The Sterling's one of the worst. And then you've got like the Scorpion, which is as bad as the Sterling. Obviously, in real life, the Sterling would destroy it in a 1v1. I'm trying to think of other SMG squads, but nothing comes to mind. Grease Gun, NG Flam, the Grease Guns. You see the accuracy is less. And that's not just... Well, actually, the RMP, they might just be the same. No, it would still be less. It's just because the Reservist is -5 and the Vet might be -5. But even then, it's less. And then there's other ones, like... I'm trying to think, what the heck are those Zappadors? And that's because of the veterancy again, RMP. So there are tiers, but you know, basically the MP5 is just like way out there ahead of all the other ones, which is kind of weird. So 3 SMGs, 4 rifles, 1 MG3, and a red eye, and there's something similar already in the game. Like the West Germans get an infantry CV with. There it is. Maybe, yes, this. It's that, except it's not got an AT, so it'll be cheaper. Although it's got more guys, so it might be about the same. I mean, that's an 8-man squad with a Strela 2M, and it's 75 points. So it'll probably be about that much. Might be 80 because it's got a machine gun. And then we've got Ingenerora. Man, get me out. Why do they do it in capital letters, man? I need to... You can just fast forward this part. Ingenieur.
Ingeniør.
Ingenieur.
Ingeniør.
Ingenieur. So, engineer. Are combat engineer squads with the same strength of small arms loadout as the regular infantry, but instead carrying laws and satchels. So, there you go. Prior to this, the only regular sappers that had AT and satchels are the Poles, right? And the Saperzi. It's because I've got these things, Saperzi, right? With the you know, satchel and coma, and then now you're gonna have 8 dudes with a law and satchels, so 1 less guy means 5 less points, but coma, so it'll probably be about the law is better than the coma, It'll probably be about 50 anyway. Then we've got engineer leaders. Right, I'm learning. 3 strong command squads with Hovier SMGs, Carl Gustavs, and smoke grenades. They deploy in Laro jeeps, which is a rover. So 3 dudes. So it'll probably be 3 per card as well. And Carl Gustav and smoke is nice. The main issue is 1 howitzer round just deletes them, so they tend not to be that useful. Specialist infantry come in the form of Panzerverkanister, which I believe is an anti-tank squad with 6 strong with 2 SMGs, 4 rifles, and 2 Carl Gustavs. So that sounds a lot like the Dutch one. Man, what is that? The Germans should have finished the job. Hey. Panzervernskiter.
Panserværnsskytter.
Panzervernskuder.
Panserværnsskytter.
Right, I have to look this up. Population of Denmark. I mean, 6 million is not too bad.
Panserværnsskytter.
Panzervernskuder. And 2 Carl Gustav, so that's most like the Panzerverkenners on the Dutch, right? Where are you? Obviously, there's a lot of these kind of squads, right? So there's that, right? And of course, tank hunters on Canada, right? Or you can get the American one, which nobody brings. But there's one that the Dutch get, and I need to look it up because it's called something very similar. Not that div apparently. I'm just stupid. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Tank Jaegers. Wow, so I'm even dumber than I thought. But check that out. 2 SMGs, 4 rifles, 2 Carl Gustavs. 3 SMGs, 2 rifles, 2 Carl Gustavs. And this is going to be 6 strong. So it'll cost 5 points more. It'll be 35 points, and it'll be almost identical to that, but with 1 more dude. So there you go. It was worth the wait. Hopefully I've redeemed myself in your eyes, person I cannot hear. As a single battalion of motorized infantry was attached to the division, they provide a single card of Infantry Knave. Come on, man, don't do this to me. Knave. Knave. Is that... have I just typed A? Right. Infantry Knave. Infantry Fist.
Infanteripnev.
Pneo.
Infanteripnev.
Pneo. It's a V, mate. 1 SMG, 6 rifles, 1 MG... What? Oh, because this means motorized, apparently. Fist means motorized. Because, like, armored fist, I don't know. As a single... 1 SMG, 6 rifles, 1 MG3, and a law. Well, isn't that just shite? I mean, admittedly, it's 8 dudes, so that's not so bad. But it's got 1 SMG, which just immediately brings it down. Because the SMG doesn't engage when everybody else engages. And I'll be honest, the West German small arms are basically the worst in the game. Because 5.56 assault rifles beat 7.62 assault rifles, right? Now, admittedly, 7.62 MMGs beat 5.56 MMGs, of which I don't really think there are many. But LSWs beat MMGs because they can fire on the move, and they're just kind of better anyway. And so having 7.62 battle rifles and 7.62 medium machine gun is the worst combination you can get. Now add to that the fact that they're just constantly carrying around these SMGs, which means they get 1 fewer gun. It just makes them crap. So it's not great. It's not great. It's pnew, as you might say. Anyway, weapon support teams are the regular 762 team, right? So it's just the MG3 762 team. I don't need to show you that. The 12.750 cal team. So that's nice. And the ITO, don't need to show you that. And the military police. I see, I know Danish. All can deploy in Laro Jeeps, while the latter squad can also be whisked to the battlefield in a Volkswagen with the military police trait. The M225 military politi. Yeah. Yeah, so four-man military... They didn't even say what the loadout was on the military police squad. I mean, it could be anything. It's probably going to be 4 SMGs, right? Like this. Incidentally, the Uzi has better stats than the Sterling, which is complete nonsense. Alright. Anyway. So, I say that having never fired either of them. So yeah, the ITO is 3 men, right? And it's there it is, 5 per card, 80 points. ITO, there's your MMG team, they're all the same. There's a HMG team as well, that'll be 30 points, 8 per card. And then the military police, which are, 9 per card, 20 points, and they'll come in the Volkswagen, which presumably is going to look a lot like that. So we're learning, we're growing as people, right? Yeah, finally, the well-known and famous Jagere Special Forces completes this roster. But first, we must complete our knowledge of how to say Jagere. We know what it means. It's just German again.
Yeah.
Surely not.
Yeah.
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 There's a G there.
Yeah.
What can you do, eh? There are 6 strong and armed with 4 M4 carbines, 1 Mini-Me, which is a 5.56 light support weapon, and 1 MSG-90, which... What is that? I don't know what that is. Is that a DMR? Yes, it's a 7.62 DMR. So 6 dudes, 1 DMR, 1 machine gun, 4 carbines, which have less range than assault rifles, because if you look at the ranges, you also have the M4 carbine, or carbine if you were repeatedly dropped on your head as a child. Actually, that's the Colt Commando. Is that different? I assume it's not. Yeah, 500 meters. Plus the airborne special forces and shock trace. So they'll be airborne special forces. So that's them there. I'm being brutally face-mogged by these Danish guys. Look at those bright blue eyes they all have. I'm being face-mogged by the Luxmaxes. Anyway, if you're above the age of about 12, you probably just had a stroke when you heard me say that. So let's move on to the artillery category. A pretty good category with mortars in 81mm, which is only good for smoke, but, most mortars are really only good for smoke. And that is the Toad 81mm, or self-propelled M125, which I believe is the American one. There it is. And this is 4 per card, whereas the 110mm American one is 3 per card. So it's good for smoking, basically. In terms of, what this is, the M57 81mm. Because the British one, for example, goes quite far. Goes 5.625, which is nice, second best in the game. And then the Belgian one is really bad. We don't see the M57, but it'll probably... I mean, if the tracked one is the American one, the towed one is probably the American one, so yeah, it's probably like that. Artillery pieces further include the Toad Haubitz M114 155mm. Is this the bad one? Or is it the good one? It's the good one. It's the one with the penis extension surgery, right? Whereas the other one is not so good. So if we just show you, see what I mean? You went to Turkey, or is that hair loss? I can't remember. So it's got more range, which means it's better because the dispersion, how wide the explodey parts are, is based on the range. So the longer the range, the smaller the dispersion at the same range. And the Haubitz 203mm, which is in Belgium, is that the one Spain gets as well? So there it is, and this thing is actually lethal because it's 2 per card. And it's 203mm, so it's really good, actually. And there it is on Spain. But they're reservist, and that's, I think, why they're 2 per card. Otherwise, they'd come at 1 vet and they'd be 1 per card, so... And the reservist doesn't matter anymore for artillery, except for, like, when you're being counter-batteried, because it says 5% less accuracy, but it doesn't affect the dispersion at all. So you should always bring reservist artillery when you can. As well as the M109A3, a brand new model redone for this division. So, versus A2. So it's a different engine. Grok is telling me, uh-oh, it's actually worse. They are identical. Okay, that's a shame. I mean, obviously they should make them different. So it's just an M109 howitzer, 2 per card, 155mm. There's the A2. There's the A1. As you can see, no difference at all. Except mine's got smoke. The Canadian one doesn't. Yeah, tanks. Let's get to the tanks. Sorry this has taken so long, but we've never seen Denmark before, so it takes long, right? The main Danish armoured workhorse is the Leopard 1 DK, which is in Wargame Red Dragon. I remember using it. An improved Leopard 1A3. It comes in vanilla and command variants. Due to the Warno's march to war, we added one additional card of the more advanced Leopard 1A5 DK. An upgrade program started in 1990, which is a different variant and model than the West German 1A5, although with similar stats. Just make it different, man. Come on, what's going on? So, Leopard 1 DK is a Leopard 1A3. Is the Leopard 1A3 in the game? No, but they'll probably make it like the 1A1. What's the difference here? The 1A2 gets a better gun. So what's the 1A3 gonna be? Because the 1A... The difference between the 1A... No, but that's a 1A, 1A2. It's not a 1A2. Right, so in Wargame Red Dragon, which we opened for a reason, you can see the Leopard 1A5 DK and the Leopard 1A3 DK. The difference is the 1A3 has 2,100 meters range, which is an intermediate between the 1A1 and the 1A5. Hopefully they do that in Warno. Knowing them, they won't. They'll just make it exactly like one of them. But it's got less accuracy, less stabilized accuracy, and a significantly less pen, actually. Which I assume is not going to happen, given... I mean, that 12 is really, really low. So there you go. It might be 2,100 meters range. We do not know. I mean, it would be our first Leopard with 2,100 meters range. No, it would not. No, it would not. It would be a lot like this one, apparently. So there you go. That's probably, maybe, perhaps, your 1A3, maybe. Perhaps. We don't know. And then the 1A5 DK, which is going to be like the West German one, but different, but the same. So here's the Belgian one, and here's the West German one. The Belgian one gets one more pen, but loses one armor, which means that there's a certain gun that kills, I think it's the Hot 1. It's like the Hot 1 or something, so 20 pen one-shots 6 armor, so 21 one-shots 7, and 22 one-shots 8. Whereas you need 23 to one-shot 9. So, but what is 22 pen in this game? I cannot think of anything that is 22 heat pen in this game. I'm sure there's something, I'm just missing it. I know things that are 23, the swing fire. What is the hot one? Bow. Oh. It's 22. So, oh yeah, but 22 will one-shot 8. So the hot one will one-shot a Belgian Leopard 1A5. But it will not one-shot a German Leopard 1A5. How often do you face hot ones in this game? It's literally just when you're playing against Second Panzergren, because they have to bring the Jaguar 1 now instead of the Jaguar 2. So there you go, confirmed counter to Second Panzergren, maybe, depending on what they actually do. Used as a support tank for the motorized infantry battalion, and as tank destroyers, the division also fields older Centurion Mark 5s. These aren't British Mark 5s, but instead of Mark 3. The coaxial machine gun replaced with an M1919, while retaining the original 20-pounder gun. A fragile but more accurate tank gun. What's the pen on that going to be? Like 3? Is this? It's a 30 cal. So it's worse, right? Well, hang on. What's the? Basically, the MAG is identical to the M1919 in this game for the aforementioned reasons, which I described earlier. So it's going to be like that, except the gun is a 20-pounder 84mm gun, which is more accurate, but it's 84mm. So the pen is going to be very bad. It's going to be very bad. So, makes you think, doesn't it? So, yeah, I'm not sure, really. 20-pounder in this game. Do we have anything? What is that? That's still an L7A3. It's probably going to have similar pen to that. It's probably going to be a lot like the Centurion Mark 12. Because it's the M1919 things as well, so it's probably going to cost about 55 points. Admittedly, on 4th UK it's not so bad, because the point is you just use it to tank shots. You don't actually use it to do anything, apart from tank shots, so other people could do the killing. Such as your Leopard 1 Donkey Kongs. The unit also comes in vanilla and command variants, as well as the Centurion Mark V2 upgunned with the L7105 and closer in stats to the Dutch Centurion Mark V2, although differing in some details which they haven't bothered describing. So it'll be like this. Now, I mean, the Dutch one is so much better than the British one. It's crazy. Because it's got one more pen, which matters. I think. So, yeah, it'll be like the one on the right, but different in ways that I cannot tell you because they haven't told me. And yeah, the tank destroyers come in the form of the Laro M84, a Land Rover with a Nito, and the M113 TOW 2. So you know what an Ito Jeep looks like, right? Except this may or may not go at 90 kilometers an hour because we don't know what kind of stats they'll give it. I assume they'll just copy paste this unit and it'll go at 65. That's what I assume is going to happen, right? That's what I'm assuming is going to happen there. My FPS is really low because I've got 2 games open and I'm recording in 4K. So I'm sorry if that bothers you. Obviously, there's not much momentum here, is there? So, an M113 TOW 2, which is obviously in the game, right? Come on, man, don't do me like this. But how's it going to look? Is it going to look like this, where it's sort of stuck on the top? Or is it going to look like this, where it's actually a thing, right? It's actually its own thing. These are okay, it's just they've only got 1 armor, so they just explode. But if they had 2 armor, it'd be a lot better. And there is one with 2 armor. But it's the Dutch one, right? There it is, the Pratt with its 2 armor. Lastly, the M113A2 Pinbook, which is a locally modified M113A1 featuring an Oerlikon KBA 25mm autocannon, the same one that is on the Dutch and Belgian IV 25mm. These are used as fire support vehicles with 2 attached to each infantry company. In Warno they will be considered a light tank, so they'll be in the tank tab. So that is basically, that is in Wargame Red Dragon. I remember using those. There it is, the Punmuk, right? So it's in this game it's got 2 armor, but in this game M113s have more armor than they do in Warno. The M113A3 in Warno used to have 3 armor like the one in the Red Dragon, but then the Fun Police came and said no, everything must be the same. And now we have BMD2s with 2 front armor, and M113A3s with 1 front armor, even though the M113A3 was more protected than the BMD2. But the BMD2, you see, is unpacked, so... Anyway, this is most similar in Warno terms to the Raden on Berlin Command, and we can assume it will cost about the same and be about the same availability. They might turn around and say, well, actually, no, because the caliber's less, so the pen will be higher, because the Ehrlichen pen is higher. But the motion accuracy, for whatever reason, on the Ehrlichen is very, very low. And, yeah, so basically, when they first started adding units to Warno, everything that was unstabilized got a 5% stabilizer, and then they just sort of forgot that they were doing that, and so now all the newest ones get 0, and this one used to get 5 and now gets like 2, because that 9% is the chance to hit across 5 shots. So yeah, half of them are just wrong, and it's just completely inconsistent. But yeah, when they first did it, they all had 5%, even if they were unstabilized, which was cool because like they do still shoot. The ones that have 0% stabilized accuracy, the newest ones, they still shoot because otherwise it just completely fucks up the targeting. But yeah, they just have a disadvantage because they were made more recently. And it's weird that people who play the game know this, but the guys who make it don't really... They don't think about it or they don't care. Anyway, it'll probably cost about the same as the one on the right. So, Recon. 42, 30 Recon. Not too stellar, with infantry scouts coming in the... it's just my FPS is so low because I'm got Wargame open. Not too stellar, with infantry scouts coming in the following variants. The Spejder Daikon. I'm not looking it up, I can't be bothered. 3 men with 2 rifles, 1 machine gun, and a Carl Gustav. They come in Alaro. So that's an interesting recon team. Reminds me mostly of the Canadian one, which is 3 guys, but it's got a worse AT. Recce standard is 3 guys, and given that they'll have a better AT and a machine gun, they'll probably be 30 points. Spejder without the Daikon is 4 men with 2 MGs and what? So 1 rifle, 2 MGs, and what? Presumably, and a Carl Gustav. At which point they'll cost 5 points more than the other one. But we'll see, because obviously they've not said it. Panzer Spejder, if it's no AT, it'll be cheaper. It'll be like the American Scouts, which are like 25. Because the AT is quite important on a Scout unit, especially because they get additional stealth. So there it is, 25, right, for 4 dudes. Panzer Spejder, 10 men, with 9 G3s, 1 MG3, and a Carl Gustav. They come in Bedford, and a Recon M113A1. So that's most similar to like Jaeger Aufklärer, I suppose, who are here. So 1 more guy plus a better AT means at least 60 points. It might be 65, but we'll see. And yeah, they come in the M113A1 Recon, which is already in the game, but it's like a German one, and it's crap. Because it's only got mediocre stealth, and it's like, there's just no point in it, it's just slow, so it's better to just bring it in the truck in most cases. And then Set Bulk. This is 6 men, Home Guard. They are the Home Guard's elite, and such don't feature the reservist trait. Armed with Hovier SMGs, Laws, and smoke grenades. They get Special Forces, Shock, Airborne, and Ground Surveillance Radar. Okay, so this is your recon. It's like LSR. It's like LSR or Dragon Paras. Law and Smoke. Because LRS... Sorry, LRS, not LSR. They don't have smoke. But they've got, you know, Special Forces, Shock, Airborne, Recon, right? And they're 80 points. Then you've got Dragon Paras, who get the smoke, but don't get the AT. So it'll probably cost about the same as the LRS because they don't have the DMR, right? And the SMGs kind of bring it down. Aerial Recon comes in the form of the unarmed OH-6 helicopter. Vietnam era Magnum PI is like, I'm not old enough to know what that is. Iconic Loach. So is that already in the game? Is it like a Gazette or... I know what the Loach is because, yeah, it's a little bird thing, right? But I guess it's older, so it's going to be 4 HP and probably not as fast as the little bird, presumably. I mean, OH... So there's the... I mean, this is a different frame, right? But then you got the little bird, which is here, and yes, I don't know, it might just be the same as a little bird, right? But it won't have the guns and stuff on it, right? Armored recon vehicles are the Green Archer, with a funny name. So the Green Archer's just exceptional optics, 4 per card. It's got smoke and 1 armor, but it's only got 1 armor, so it's really not as good as the BRM-1Ks that Pact gets. And the M41 DK1. While clearly not the most modern NATO army, Denmark invested heavily in modernising and keeping its old M41 light tank fleet in service. So they're on Devblog, right? One result is the M41 DK1, probably one of the best light recon tanks in Warno. Although it retains the armour, lack of stabiliser, and 76mm caliber gun from the original M41 as found with Belgium in-game on Devblog, this Danish recon unit has improved ammunition, improved long-range fire, its range is 2,275 metres, improved accuracy, improved engine, dedicated recon, very good optics, so that's... most of these recon tanks only have good optics, and smoke. Okay, but it's only going to have like 4 armour, right? The M41s only have like 4 armor. Obviously we don't know how much better it's going to get. So it's going to have 4 armor, but the gun is longer range and better ammo, but we don't know how much better. And it's going to be faster, which is interesting because that's already going at 65, so it's going to be very fast. I bet they make it like 70 or something. Very good optics and smoke to start, just charges, because if you look at the M1A1 ACAV, it's only got good optics, right? And same with like that T64 one and all the other ones, right? Only good optics. Having said that, I think the AMX-10RC has very good, yeah, it's got very good. So, yeah, interesting. We'll see how much it costs, right? An upgraded M41. If it's faster than this, it's actually really fast, so... And this thing fires at 12 rounds a minute because it's related to the gun caliber. It's how they do the rate of fires in this game, except the British ones that get a malus for being, you know, wrong country award. Game was made in the wrong country award. And so, yeah, 12 rounds a minute at 2,275 meters range is with improved penetration, whatever that means. And smoke. It's going to be a lot of fun to use. It's going to be not so much fun to play against. AA finally got through that recon tab. AA, rather mediocre with 3 well-known units. The Hamlet, which is the Danish designation for the Red Eye Manpad team, so we know the Hamlet from Wargame Red Dragon. Mirror, mirror, where art thou? No, hang on. There's like a storm, right, at the start, and I was the guy, I was supposed to read the lines of the storm, of the guy shouting in the storm. That was my job in the play. I can't even remember. Sounds like 11. Anyway, it's a red eye. So how does that look in game? It is the Fliegerfaust, which is better than a blowpipe in game. Obviously, in real life, the blowpipe would just one shot it, right? So it's actually it's because it's fire and forget, which does actually make it way better. So yeah, the Fliegerfaust is actually not so bad against helos. Against planes, it's bloody terrible. But yeah, the fire and forget's very useful, frankly. And then we've got the LVK M70 40mm, which is the Bofors, which is trash. And then the Eyehawk. Oh, so you're fine then. If you've got the Eyehawk, you're fine. Because the Eyehawk kills the planes. And then you max vet the Fliegerfausts and use those to kill the helicopters. This thing, the flipping Bofors L70, is a doo-doo. It's very, very bad. Because of its very low accuracy. And the Dutch one ain't much better, frankly. Some people swear by it. I mean, some people are wrong, basically. There's always something better to bring. The thing is, right, once you get to 20% accuracy, they sort of become good. So if you vet this once, it's 20%, and then it's not so bad. But you'd have to vet this twice, at which point you don't really get a lot of them. So, yeah. Spam Fleegers and Eyehawks, and you'll be fine. You'll get through it. Just like, we'll get through this, boys. Right. Likewise mediocre on the heli tab, though not in quality, but in the number of choices and slots. Only one option is available. the Fennec. This is the French... Oh, right, so that's why it's high quality. The French Écroueuil helicopter, which is in 152 Easy, fitted with 4 ATGM tubes, loaded in this case with the TOW 2. Since this is a March to War unit, it will only be available in limited numbers. Okay, so it's 6 HP, isn't it? The Écroueuil... Come on, don't do this to me. Écroueuil? Can't spell. Écroueuil. 6 HP, right? Which means it can survive a manpad here, which is very useful. So it's 6 HP, can survive a manpad hit, and it's loaded with 4 TOW 2s, which means it's most like the Belgian AH thingy. What the hell is that thing called? We'll just have to look it up. So it's this one. And this is 85 for 4 TOW 2 tubes and 6 HP. But it's 270 kilometers an hour. A109HA. A.109HA. And then Écroueuil. So it's going to go at 215, and it'll have the armament on the right. And therefore it will probably cost 80 points, because it's slower. But that's really not so bad. The issue is no autocannon version. I mean, that would be cool, right? Because then you could do the funny opener. But you get long range. You get AA. Sorry, you get airborne forward deployment, right? The face mog looks max chads or whatever the fuck. Anyway, you got to get me out of here, man. I've been talking for too long. Aircraft. The Royal Danish Air Force copying operated 2 planes in the late 1980s. The ubiquitous F-16A coming in many loadouts. AA-1 with 4 AIM-9Ns and 2 AIM-9Ls. Now, somebody sent me a list of the AIMs and what they all do, and I was like, yeah, I'll read that later. Well, unfortunately, I have not read that. And the AIM-9N is not in the AIM. The AIM-9L is, but the AIM-9N is not. So if you look at the... So there's the AIM-9L, right? The AIM-9N, I don't know. And then we got the AA-2. But, like, what is... So it's a shotgun fighter, basically, right? So there you go. It's, Oh, it's like the P, which is in the game, but I can't remember where it is. Yes, I can. Yes, I can. It's got longer range, but it deals less damage. It's got 4 damage on it. but I can't remember who gets it. I just, if I wasn't recording, I'd probably be able to take some time to think and to think. AIM 9P. AIM 9P. Is it the Dutch ones? L L L L L. Oh, P. There you go. 4. So if it's like the if the P is like the N/P, then it will have 4 HE and longer range. So there you go. For all the good it's gonna do you. Shotgun fighter. Presumably not a shotgun fighter, but might also be in the shotgun configuration. And then the Ligma, which is the German one. That plane is crazy. The one on Luftilandy is kind of broken, man, because it gets 2 vet for free. And the Ligma is better than the regular missile anyway. And if you add that to the 2 vet, the 2 vet also gives it it gives it plus 8% evasive maneuvers, which is like ECM but better. So it might as well have 40% ECM for 210 points with those missiles which don't miss. So, but Luftilandy needs that, so that's probably why it is the way it is. So this is like the Luftilandy one. This is just different for the sake of it, and this is so it's gonna be like these, right? Except it'll be the F-16 instead of the F4F, so it might cost 10 points more because they turn better or something. I believe they still have 30% ECM, the F-16s. Depends, maybe the Danish ones got the Timu ones. Although Timu jets are good now, right? Timu jet shot down the Raphael in that Pakistan war, right? The Raphael got shot down by a Timu jet, so you never know. It also comes in the AT variant, 4 AIM-9Ns plus 2 Mavericks. In real life, these were ordered in 1988, but only delivered at the end of the Cold War. Well, good. I mean, obviously, if there was an actual war, they might speed it up a bit, so I think that's good. So, F-16 with 4 and 2. So we've seen F-16 ATs, right? There's one. Except this is 4 Mavericks and 2 things, whereas the other one will be the other way around. It'll have 2 Mavericks and 4 of these. It'll probably cost about the same, although it's not the megas, so it should be cheaper. It should be, because you don't really need 4 side missiles on your AT plane. Then again, you don't really need 4 Mavericks on your F-16 AT because you run at the thing, it fires 1 or 2, and then you either killed it or you're dead, or you're routed and so on. And then we got the cluster with 10 Rockeye cluster bombs and 2 AIM-9Ns. So that's going to be dog, because the reload time is linked to the number of bombs. So with 8 bombs, it has a 4-minute reload time. So with 10 bombs, it's going to have a 6-minute reload time. So you'll get to use it a few times in the game. As you can see, the 12... Oh no, hang on. Before 4 is after 4, and before 6 is 5, which I completely forgot about. So yeah, it will have a 5-minute reload time. 12 bombs is a 6-minute reload time. And then you got the HE with 4 big bombs. Big bombs are better because the way it works in this game is obviously very stupid. It's just 1 bomb has 30 seconds resupply time. It doesn't matter how big the bomb is. So the bigger bombs are just always better because they reload faster, and additionally, one basically 1,000 kilo bomb is more than twice as effective as 2 500 kilo bombs, right? So this has 4k bomb. That's crazy, man. That's going to one-shot basically anything. And then this one has 6 Rockeyes and 2 bombs. So basically you can switch one off, drop it, and then switch the other one on, the HE cluster, which is like this, except this is 6 clusters and 2 HE, whereas this is 2 clusters and 6 HE. So it'll be better against tanks, but slightly worse against people, right? Actually, it's just going to be better in general because these are the big bombs, whereas these are the small loser bombs. But this 6 times 30 is gonna be it's gonna be 5 minutes again. No, it's 3 minutes. What the hell's wrong with me? The iconic Swedish Saab 35 Draken, known in Danish service as the F-35 Woodness. So there you go, F-35s in Warno, guys, confirmed. While designed as an interceptor, the Danish fielded variant was intended to be purely used as a strike fighter. In this division, it will come as the F-35 Woodness rocket with 2 Aiden guns and 6 19 round pods of Hydra 60 rockets. That's going to be lit. But is it going to be... I guess it'll be 3 weapons, right? Because if you look at the F4F rocket, it has 4 rocket pods, but it's 2 weapons. So this will be 3... I mean, it'll be 4 weapons, because obviously the gun. So the Aiden is on the Harrier. So that's a nice gun. It runs out of ammo really fast, but it does a bit of damage. And then it'll have 3 sets of rockets, so it'll be very cool. Now, the F-35 is why we've been having low FPS all this time, so that we can look at it in Red Dragon. And there it is. It's a shame you only get 1, but, you know, who knows. Basically, there was a post on the subreddit where somebody complained about that. It's public access, it's on the subreddit, and Mad Matt said, don't worry. So, don't worry. And then, yeah, there's the F-35. It's got 30% ECM. It's not that fast. Although this one only has 10%, even though they're the same. Although this is the woodness, whereas this is not the woodness. So we can assume that the woodness is the ECM part. So, yeah, I mean, it looks... Obviously, it looks retarded, but it's cool that it's in the game. So, the Jyske division is a capable mechanized infantry division with an array of older armoured vehicles. Air cover is powerful, as well as its artillery and infantry forces. So I'm sorry that took so long, but completely new nation. You know, it does take time. Also, I'm severely brain damaged. This thing seems cool. Just to summarise, right, we might as well start at the top. Logi's nothing to write home about. It depends if the rovers get the actual rover speed or the Spanish rover speed. The Bedford is okay, I guess. No cheap supply is a problem, so you got a 40 pointer on what's going to be like an 80 pointer or a 60 pointer. The infantry's really nothing to write home about because the small arms they get are just because of the way the game is designed. Bad. SMG bad, G3 bad, MG3 bad, so... And there's nothing special, right? Although the fact that the engineers spell in a dumb way gets laws and satchels is interesting. And, yeah, like there's no IFVs, right? There's this thing, but it's not an IFV, it's a tank, like Berlin Command. And then you get the special forces, okay. And so you get a bit of airborne forward deployment, right? And then the RT is really, if this is 2 per card, it's really nice. If it's 1 per card, it's not so great. The M109s, you can't really go wrong with that. Self-propelled mortars is always nice. But yeah, no like armed, I mean M113s I guess, but no like cool transport thing with gun, right? And then the tanks, the Leopard ones, it depends how many you get. It depends what the 1A3 is. If it's like the 1V that the Dutch get, then great, the Leopard 1 DK, right? And then the 1A5 DK is going to be more like the West German one. You can't really go wrong with Leopard ones. They're good against other tanks. They're not so great against infantry, right? The T55 is worse against other tanks, but better against infantry, because it gets more armour, and it gets a HMG, which really helps. The Centurion Mark V is spammable. Oh, but this is like the bad one or whatever, and then the 5V2 is fairly decent. You get ATGM jeeps. This Punmuk thing is in Berlin Command. Nobody brings that unit, so I mean, is here? I think you're gonna have to because you don't get AMX-30Bs with the autocannons, which is what people bring instead of that Raden thing. So you're probably gonna have to bring this. It does have smoke on it, and then the Recon. Like, I mean, if okay. This thing seems okay. The fact that you get ground surveillance radar's nice. The funky tank seems cool, right? AA, Eyehawks, and Fliegerfaust. It'd be nice to have if this was actually a usable unit, right? That would be cool. But it'd be nice to have something intermediate like a Chaparral or a Strela 10M, or God help me, a tracked rapier. Maybe not that, but having an ATGM helo is nice, right? But no helo with gun. And then the AA, the air is like 1 cool thing, and then just a bunch of F-16s. Which, okay, you got the AT-1, the Cluster 1, the HE-1, the Cluster HE-1. These shotgun fighters are actually not so bad, especially given that, I mean, the IHawk kills the planes, so you don't have to worry about that. And overall, I mean, it's cool that Denmark is in the game, but this is... If it didn't have the Danish flag on it, people would be calling it slop. So that is all there is to say, really. I mean, it's just not different enough, really. If you're Danish, I mean, I'm gonna play it. It's just there's not that much cool stuff in it. I mean, it's just kind of things you've already got, infantry you've already got, but with the Danish flag on them. Very mediocre, like no new ways to play. The only actually new thing is this M41. So yeah, I will play it, and oh, I suppose the Draken, but I mean it's just a with 3 sets of rockets is actually pretty cool because it's like that SU-25 one that 27Y gets, or 25Y. This right, it's like that. Except the rockets aren't as big, maybe, or something, because it's Hydra 70s, which is not as good. So overall, it's those are Zunis. I think Jaguar rocket maybe. Is the Hydras on it? Yes. And the Jaguar rocket does literally nothing to tanks, so you'll do nothing to tanks. But you will really mess up infantry. So yeah, it is what it is. It's cool to get Denmark in the game, but I mean it's not really that. If it didn't have a Danish flag on it, you wouldn't care. Anyway, have a lovely day.